Welcome everyone to That Kind of Nerds coverage of Game of Thrones Season 7. I am CJ Millen, joined of course by Josh Burns, Brian Thornton, and Craig Newcombe. So, as I was watching last week's episode of Game of Thrones, I caught myself kind of being that Walking Dead fan who's like, man, they haven't done anything this episode. There's not a lot of people
you
dying.
are that Walking Dead fan, though.
No, but I'm not that Walking Dead, because I am the Walking Dead fan who's like, listen, it's about the characters, it's about the story, and
Can we not talk about Walking Dead?
But you got to deal with that. Well, you were the one who brought it up. And now I'm thinking about having the conversation this week, and there was a lot that was happening character-wise, just not a lot of action. And Game of Thrones has kind of spoiled me with action. And now I feel like with only a few episodes left, this actually whole series, it's starting to dawn on me that there's a lot of loose ends and a lot of things that need to happen in order for it to get resolved. So I'm very curious to have the conversation this week. Kind of see what happened, what I missed when I was moping around waiting for people to die, and hear your reactions. So let's start with the first impressions. Let's start with Craig.
I think we're building up to something. I'm really interested as what's going to happen. I think this episode was a lot of filler. Some important things happened. I definitely liked Daenerys calling out Varys and that whole interaction between them. But overall, this episode, up until the very end, was kind of lackluster.
Well, the other thing, too, is, you had a theory last week that Euron was going to go and get a dragon. And I didn't see him getting any dragons. As a matter of fact, he went and captured his sister.
Not his sister, his niece.
His niece. My bad.
He could be doing that on spec, though. He could be doing that for his own enjoyment. That might not be his present.
You don't think that that's the present? Hey, this is the...
I do. I'm just not ready to give up on my theory yet, okay?
Listen, man, he has two of Daenerys' generals, pretty much. Yeah. That's his present.
That's the present, dude.
He's got his niece, and he's got the lady from Dorne. And he killed two of the three snakes.
Yep.
Yeah, why wouldn't they poison their weapons, though? Don't they have poison weapons?
Listen, they're a bigger issue that we'll talk about through the episode and their death. So we'll get to them. Let's go with Brian. What your first impressions for this episode and kind of everything that happened?
I mean, yeah, I agree with Craig. I wouldn't say it was filler. There's a lot of stuff that is leading up to. I mean, so there's some filler, little bit of killer, and I highly enjoyed this episode. You're starting to see some of the things fall into place and starting to realize, kind of what Daenerys' plan is. And by the end of this episode, half of her plan is completely screwed. So I'm interested to see how she's going to react to that. Plus, Grey Worm got a little something, so that was fun.
Yeah, I was very interested to hear Daenerys' plan, right? Where she's like, hey, listen, a foreigner cannot conquer this city. Like, it just can't happen because that doesn't show unity. That shows, an invasion. And, she was hoping to use that fleet and use those people to go ahead and make her plan work. And now that they're all dead,
well, they were on their way to get the Tyrell army and the Dornish army to come back and take King's Landing. So now they've got no way to transport that army. They've got two of their generals MIA. They don't have any more ships. I have a theory, but I will talk about it later.
That's going to play right into Cersei's plan, though, too, because she's getting all the lords of Westeros to say, look, Daenerys, she's a baddie. She's bringing these heathens to our land, and now she's going to have no choice but to use her army.
I disagree.
Okay.
And I will talk about it later.
I think it's a solid story setup type episode. There's Arya sort of changed her path, and Theon sort of changed his path, and I thought there was quite a bit going on, but all of it was story setup. I don't feel any kind of way about it. We're not sure, but it seems Daenerys has to change her path now.
I like that. That's a good observation that a lot of people's paths just got totally shat on, and they have to totally adjust their plan.
Right.
Yeah. And okay, so this goes into my theory because we were talking about how she no longer has access to get the army that she wanted to get to mow over King's Landing.
Right.
Right?
Well, Yes and no. I mean, the problem is that she is up against a fleet, which is a different, like, she has to change her course regardless.
Well, she doesn't have a fleet anymore to go get that army she was getting.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
She doesn't have the ability to go get them. She's lost 2 of her generals now. And the whole point of having that army, the Dornish and Tyrell's army, to go into King's Landing was just like CJ said, so that it's not foreigners attacking King's Landing. It's, people of Westeros. It's not an invasion. It's more unified that way. So I think now, being as going into this episode, we're going to have Jon and Daenerys meeting for the first time. I think she's going to try to use the army of the North to take King's Landing and still keep the Unsullied going for Casterly Rock. I think the best course of action for both of them is if Jon and Daenerys strike up a deal. All right, you can use my army for King's Landing, but I need help with these White Walkers.
There'd be people lining up to stab Jon a second time. I mean, you're right. I'm not saying it's not feasible, but like, it's bad enough. They already feel like he's turning on them, going south. This whole thing's happening. This whole thing's transpiring, and I turn to Laura. I go, he's gonna give it to Sansa. He's gonna give it to Sansa right now.
Oh yeah, we called that last episode.
So like, here comes, right? But that was still, you could feel some of the lords in the room kind of, feeling some kind of way about it. If he takes men from the North, it's gonna get stabby in there.
But
did he just give the North the little finger too in that?
No, I don't think so. Not yet.
I don't think. I don't think Littlefinger has any real power just yet.
He's up to something. We can all agree on that.
But he's always up to something. He needs to win Sansa over again, and that's going to be 10 times harder this time. So he's going to have to really, pull a rabbit out of someone's ass or something.
All right, so let's talk about a couple of characters and basically how their path has been adjusted. And let's start with Arya, because Arya does have one thing. Arya always remains a badass. You made a pie? Yeah, 1 or 2. Okay, you're still a badass. I appreciate your awesomeness. But
she's going to Winterfell now, though.
She's taking the hobbits to Isengard. Absolutely. I
don't think she's going to Winterfell. I think she changed her mind.
Why would she not go to be with her family?
You saw her as soon as she found out that they were there.
Yep.
It was over.
And then she ran into Nemirius and she said, "That's
no. You're
no.
I think.
Let me finish my thought. I think it's going to change your opinion.
Okay. So that's never happened before. So let's see.
All right. So she runs into Nemirius and she says, "That's not you." And if you think way back, her father had a conversation and she said, "You'll be a lady of a castle one day." And she says, "No, that's not me."
Right.
Arya's wild. I don't think she's going to go to a place. She's on a mission. She knows she's wild.
I get
just
it.
like Nymeria.
Point of order. If you're going to start quoting things that have been said just out of, randomness, I read something that kind of makes sense. Last episode. Yeah, the last episode where Littlefinger was talking to Sansa and he's just like, "Oh, I just want to protect you." And she says, no one can protect me. The theory I read is that that's not just a throwaway line that no one can protect me. It's the fact that Arya is now no one.
Right.
And she's going to become Sansa's protector.
But Sansa doesn't
she's going
know
back
that.
to Winterfell.
It doesn't.
Right,
she doesn't need to know it. It's
subtext.
It's a foreshadowing
by the writers,
right? And I'm fine with that. It's what it is. It's I am the future Flash. We knew the whole time, Brian. He told us.
Oh, you just brought it up and you're going to make me cry.
There was a comma there. I'm sorry, but then there wasn't a comma.
No, so listen, Arya is obviously, she's obviously kind of not projecting, but reflecting and having her personal journey on her direwolves, right? And she's acknowledging the fact that, yes, she is wild. Craig, I thought the same thing. It's really just Arya commentating on herself and how she's changed, but she's still going to Winterfell, man. Like, she's still going.
I mean, and Craig, what you're referencing is something that the writers were talking about during After the Thrones, which was very cool. It was a good moment, and it was that. But the parallel that was drawn was Arya recognizing that the direwolf is it was the same thing, but it's just here's what I said to my father, she's now saying to me. That's the parallel. And it has nothing to do with her being wild and changing her ways. I don't think there's anything that can keep a Stark from Winterfell when there's other Starks in Winterfell. Nothing. Like her whole reason for going to Castle Rock is that her family was dead. The Boltons had Winterfell. She had no home. She's going. I'm sorry, King's Landing. She was going to King's Landing. But
here's my. I'm sorry. But here's a question I have with that you just brought up. If she still thought that Ramsay Bolton and the Boltons were in charge of Winterfell the whole time, why wasn't her original mission going there to save Sansa? Like, why wasn't that priority number one?
No, because you can't take on she couldn't take on Winterfell on her own. It's impossible.
She's going to take on King's Landing?
No.
I
In
think
King's
she knows
Landing,
it's a suicide mission, though.
Right, but in King's Landing, she knows how. I mean, she hid in King's Landing for days and days.
She lived in Winterfell.
Yeah.
You don't think she knows that thing inside?
She can't get in. She can't get in. Everybody gets into King's Landing. Anybody gets into King's Landing. Everyone all the time gets access to King's Landing.
I'm just thinking a Stark knows how to get in and out of Winterfell better than anybody else in the North.
You can't get into Winterfell. The point of one of the first episodes, Ned said, or someone said, that we'll just wait here. We'll starve him out. There's no way. She can't get in without being invited.
She can change her face, though. You don't think she can just walk through as someone she killed walking around outside?
Man, I suppose, but I think that's a little. Why would she kill one of her bannermen? She's not that person.
I was just questioning the motivation as to not going to King's Landing right away to help Sansa. I just
needs
thought
to
it was
be
weird.
with her family.
I just thought it was odd. That's all I'm saying. It was nice to see Hot Pie again. That was cool. So let's talk about another character that I'm actually enjoying a lot. Every time Sam is on screen, I'm enjoying Sam's storyline very much.
Wait, you didn't like Sam?
No, I every time I see him, I like him more and more. It just he keeps growing on me every single time. And you're right on, Craig. I think that Sam is
like
on the
grayscale?
mission.
Like grayscale, yeah. Good
Right.
call.
Sam is on a mission to get himself kicked out of the Citadel. Has no one thought, though, of just scraping off grayscale? Has that not been he didn't do anything special besides it.
Someone did, but the procedure's forbidden, apparently.
And it gives you grayscale in the process.
the guy that did got grayscale.
All right, touche. I did like the fact that it looked like a burnt marshmallow too. I thought that was kind of
it was that when it transitioned from Sam
that
scraping
pie?
the grayscale to Laura very nearly threw up.
CJ, I want you to rewatch that episode and eat some s'mores while you're doing it, please.
Dude, I love s'mores. I will. I'm really liking the quirky transitions this season is doing. I don't know who's in charge of writing those up, but A+ on them. It's kind of like when Bolton was eating the sausage right after the whole thing with Theon. So
Only guy that notices that shit.
they had the poop thing last week with the food.
Yes, we know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. No one cares but you, CJ.
It really adds so much depth to the story.
I didn't say that.
These transitions
that's
are
what you said.
amazing.
It's rich and robust.
So let's talk about the scene between Daenerys and Varys, because that was a lot of tension, but handled in a really good way by Dany. I think she did a great job of navigating that relationship.
She's testing loyalties.
Right, but also establishing
the guy
the fact...
who's proven very disloyal.
Right, but also establishing the fact that, listen, I am not the Mad King, and I'm not like the other rulers before me, and before you go ahead and scheme... come talk to me because I, like you, am looking out for the good of the realm.
She was 12. He couldn't go talk to her.
They both just threw their
Are
cards
you saying
out on the table.
In the future, yes.
When she said if you disagree, okay, that's not how you set it up. In the future, right, if you disagree, fine. But that's not
oh hell no. In the past, absolutely.
Well, but I have a
killer. I would have been on board with
like
that.
He served her well thus far, and it's not like he wasn't around before where she couldn't clip him. He's always sort of been there. I'm sure.
Yeah, but now she's
Jorah
got a
told
lot what
her
she needs.
It was him. Like none of this is new to her.
So what, you just think this was out of the blue? Like she should have had this confrontation beforehand?
Well, like Brian said, she's testing loyalties. Like she didn't confront him ever before. Like I don't know how many were they ever in the same room before? Were they ever in the same room before?
Yeah.
Yeah. But she
Many
also
times.
made sure to confront him in front of every single general that is going to be a part of her army at this point.
And part of
you don't think that's done by design?
They've never been in the Seven Kingdoms and she's together in the same room.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that was
part of it.
The thing is just really saying, listen, we're finally here. The last time a Targaryen was here, everyone called him the Mad King, and everyone in Westeros thinks I'm the Mad King's daughter. So I have to show everybody I am not the Mad King's daughter. And because this is my first time stepping foot on the soil, we need to talk about this, because I'm out for the throne and I'm out for creating unity, not dividing the world.
I think the more interesting conversation in that scene is between Tyrell and Daenerys.
Yes. But that's a separate scene, really.
Okay.
Talk about
I
it.
consider it one scene.
I have to go swaddle a baby. Go talk about it.
That wasn't the same scene at all.
Why not?
Everybody left the room. She said, I need to speak to you privately. Can everybody leave? Get the fuck out.
Right.
I trust Daenerys a lot. I think she's got the right intentions, and I think I'm siding with Tyrion. I think he's doing everything right, and I think he's doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, the problem is once the fleet got torched, she has no choice now.
Yeah.
Like, she has
Right.
to follow Olenna's
Yeah, she got
recommendation.
that advice, like, you're a dragon, be a dragon, and that wasn't the plan at first, but now that she's got no army...
Now Alaria Sand is taken. All the sand snakes are dead.
Didn't one of them survive?
One of them survived. The youngest one.
Well, it wasn't Colleen Wynn from Iron
no, it
Fist.
wasn't. That was upsetting.
Yeah, she's dead. Jessica Henwick, right? She gone. So, but you've lost your most powerful weapon. You've lost this fleet, and you've lost the people that were going to invade for you. So, I just don't see I don't see any way around Daenerys either completely changing course and deciding to go north and fight that fight. I don't think she continues with the invasion of King's Landing. I think she takes Casterly Rock either way.
She's got some hard decisions in front of her, and I think it's going to have to do with a lot of how convincing Jon is.
But look, you can't march the Unsullied to the north. They'll all die. Like, they're not aware yet that they should fear the cold, but they'll all die. They're tropical.
So
people.
where do you take them, though? If you're not supposed to march them towards King's Landing, and
You
you're not
have
supposed
them
to take
take
them to the north-
Casterly Rock. You have them
Yeah.
take Casterly Rock and inhabit it and defend it. That's it. Because the moment they do, the moment she takes Casterly Rock, she's going to draw Cersei out into the open. And at that point, she could be murdered by a Blood Rider, by a Dothraki. It wouldn't matter.
The Dothraki, I don't think, are going to appreciate the cold much either.
That's what I'm saying. They have to stay south. They must stay south. There's the Dothraki, the Unsullied, they cannot go north. But Jon can convince Daenerys to go north with the dragons and the dragon glass. And that's the only... I know this. Oh, well, that makes sense. So there's no way it's going to happen. But
So are you
that's how I
saying,
see
though,
it.
that she leaves Tyrion with the army and then her and Jon go north with the dragons to fight the White Walkers?
That makes sense to me. Sure. I mean, that keeps Tyrion close to his family, in harm's way, which is probably where he needs to be. She can't be there. She just can't. You got Yara Greyjoy is a prisoner. Alaria Sand is about to be delivered to Cersei and probably die a nasty death.
Yeah, the mountain's going to do something with her.
Right. Split her in twain, basically. So it's a problem. Like, she's lost everything. She has to change directions and salvage what's left. And I think that means, Brian, I don't think your idea is bad, but I don't think Daenerys will be able to convince Jon or believe that free folk and whatnot will come down. More importantly, good opportunity to regroup. For instance, if she takes her dragons north and ends winter for all intents and purposes, right? Because that's the real problem isn't the snow. The real problem is the army of the dead, basically. So if she can end that, she's automatically queen. Like, she doesn't need permission.
I don't think it's going to be just Jon doing the convincing. I think Melisandre is going to have a lot to do with that.
Oh, fair enough. Well, because Melisandre already believes Jon Snow's the promise.
And she's very convincing, and she can use the fire to her advantage. I know Daenerys doesn't actually believe in the...
Doesn't need to. Melisandre's convincing enough.
Yeah. I think that was one of my favorite lines, though, between the... where Varys calls her out, and he's like, oh, yeah, a failed... someone help me out with the quote that...
Something about a failed king.
Yeah, he's like... And she's like, well, you're in luck. We just pardoned...
It's something about we just pardoned people that had previously acted with the other or had allegiance with the other kings.
Yeah, that was
You're
one
in
of my
luck, is
favorite
what
lines.
she said. Yes, you're in luck. We've just decided to pardon. Right.
So when Melisandre makes the prophecy known again, right, and we get grammar corrected on the side saying that doesn't have an official pronoun.
Well, but if she brought out that, so I'm the queen or I'm the princess or whatever. And Melisandre's like, you play a role? Sure. And that nobody addressed it. Nobody was like, well, what do you mean she plays a role? She's not the one? Oh, and and then CJ, like you said, we got pronoun corrected. Well, it doesn't really have a male or female. However, everybody just like skipped over Melisandre going, yeah. Sure.
I know we've talked about this on past episodes, but did we ever figure out who has the better claim, Jon or her?
Jon's older. Jon does.
Okay, so Jon has a stronger claim to the throne.
But Jon doesn't want it.
No, but that's kind of neither.
He's not
going
to take it, and that's my whole feeling.
No, he's not
going to
take it as long as she gives him sovereignty.
Right.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying.
But that's what like who brought it up? Varys, Tyrion, somebody brought it up to her that there's already a king in the north, and that's a problem.
Well, I was talking about Melisandre saying prince or queen or whoever, prince or princess. She could be referring to Jon.
She's referring to Jon. She believes that Jon's
the one.
Should be in charge. Jon is the prophet. So she's just playing Daenerys. And hopefully she will help Jon convince Daenerys to go ahead and fight the White Walkers.
Or just give up a dragon or two.
We'll see.
That's not going to happen.
So let's talk about something else, right? So obviously we had this awesome naval battle, right? It felt like Pirates of the Caribbean rated R.
Really wasn't awesome, dude. It was a total siege. Like it was a slaughter.
Right.
He's got the coolest axe ever.
So there were a couple things that I noticed. The guy gets whipped. He gets attacked by the sand snakes, to which Craig asked earlier, don't they poison their weapons? So it's just like is he just immune to it? Is Euron just invincible during? What the hell is going on?
I think you have to like actively poison it. He came on pretty fast. I don't think they're reaching for a vial of poison and poisoning the tips of their spears at that moment.
Okay. All right. I'll concede
I think
that.
it's a thing you do before a battle or before you sneak up on someone. I don't think it's like we just walk around with perma poison.
Hey, it's Wednesday. It is time to poison our weapon. All right. Here's the other thing, though. Let's talk about the thing that angered or got the internet grumpy, and that was Theon, right? Theon decided it's not. Listen, okay, hold on. In defense of Theon, he's got three choices. Number one is he can charge at Euron.
Die.
Right? And watch his sister die and watch him die, right? Dead. He can talk it out, which not going to happen because there's so many people there. He's going to die. Or he can jump off the boat and live to fight another day.
Fight another day.
What are you going to do, guys? You're going to jump off the boat.
I was disappointed at first. And then, you get to thinking about it going, well, I don't know. He's smart. He's a dick. He's a coward. But at least he's got some brains, so he lives.
I'm reluctant to say this, but you can see like the PSTD coming through. He's had some rough times.
PTSD?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, PSTDs are really rough.
Sounds like a terrible disease.
Right.
Craig, do you want to try that again?
I've been drinking all day.
It's a premier STD. It's way
you can kind of see
worse.
that Theon's really kind of suffering from the PTSD of his past, right? And everything that's kind of gone through. So, I mean, I give him the pass. The man's obviously just, in terrible.
But in that moment, everybody was like, "Oh, come on, man, just sack up."
We were all that moment until you actually think it through, and they're just like, "Oh, I mean, like if I was in that situation, I would do the same thing." Let me ask you a question. This was something that I was kind of curious about as to why we're not seeing it more. Where the hell is Bran? Why is not every episode of this season Bran?
Well, he's at the wall.
Yes.
Because you want it to be.
It's far from the wall to even to Winterfell. So even if they had dispatched a raven, it'd take some time.
I just want to know what's going on. What is he doing? He can
the
control
raven.
anybody.
Right, he can control the raven, but he can't make the raven fly faster than a raven can fucking fly. It's going to take some time for the raven to get there.
Super speed raven.
Super speed.
He should hop ravens. He should just hop ravens.
Yeah, Wonder Twins.
Like Jumper.
Form of Ice Menorah. Raven.
Right.
Is nobody else sad about Colleen Wynn from Iron Fist being killed in this episode? Jessica Henwick, she's one of the Sand Snakes. She died.
I kind of wish she died in Iron Fist. More.
That ain't right.
And lived in this show.
Wow. She's like my favorite part of Iron Fist.
Yeah, she's the only thing that was good from Iron Fist.
Right.
I'm just taking my digs at Iron Fist.
She's the best character in Iron Fist, and now you're taking her away, which makes me super sad faced. No, I like so Obara and Nymeria Sand, the oldest, and Colleen Wynn. They died, right? So the only one left is the youngest. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, the one that was messing around with Jorah when they were in the pokey there.
Yes.
Okay, so two things about this. First and foremost, Alaria Sand captured. This is a bad thing. Like the Sand Snakes are dangerous, and now that she's the only one left. So I'm very intrigued to see sort of how that story unfolds. I don't know.
Is she the same age as Arya?
Who? No,
the youngest Sand Snake.
No, I think
she's older.
Yeah, by at least a couple years.
Listen, I was very caught off guard by their deaths, but at the same time, it made sense, and adds a lot of motivation, and adds a lot of risk and scale to what's going to happen.
You'd say it was action packed?
No, not action packed. I think
the scene. You don't think that scene was?
Oh, it was, but I think their deaths are good. They're motivating. They're going to push this story forward. They're going to take a couple characters and put them in some really
something
deep waters.
Impactful that happened during the episode is what you're saying.
Yes, character wise,
fucking dick.
like The Walking Dead, like I had brought up earlier of me being a mopey idiot.
Don't bring up that shitty show when talking about a good show, please.
Yeah, I mean it's just
wait, who brought up Iron Fist?
Oh,
Josh did.
I did twice.
I know.
I'm super sad face about Jessica Henwick not being on the show anymore.
Stray thoughts, things that we haven't covered, things that we missed. And then we'll go into crazy theories.
Stray dogs. There's that. I had when Nymeria showed up. So Arya's spooked. She's in the woods. She's spooked. Laura goes, "What? Walkers?" And I'm like, "Not this far south." It's Nymeria. Here we go. And a couple wolves came out. She's like, "Oh shit." I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like I started putting my hands up immediately.
Me
as soon
too.
as I saw wolves, I was feeling very victorious. We talked about it briefly before, but so much more important is dire wolves don't back off their prey. So it was very clear that there's still a connection. I will not write off the possibility of a reunion at some point. And I say that specifically because in the books, Bran ran with Nymeria's pack. So I have to feel like they're going to integrate that story somewhere. Like what we haven't seen a ton of is Bran controlling a direwolf, and I think there's a very good chance he controls Ghost or Nymeria or both or all or everything.
Those are the only two left, right?
Those are the only two, correct.
Yep.
And half of me was hoping that she would just ditch the horse and ride Nymeria up to Winterfell. I was like, yes, ride the direwolf.
Wolf?
Make that happen. But yeah, I was very excited as well. It was nice to, confirmation that, she's still alive, which is awesome. But yeah, just
it was a very good sort of direwolf scene. We haven't seen really a full grown direwolf because Ghost is a runt, so he's always sort
tinier.
Of just
right. Jenny, when I saw it, my wife and I were just kind of marveling again at the scale, right? And we were just like,
I was
wolves.
hoping it. I was hoping it wouldn't be like Twilight. You know what I mean? I don't need to see.
Yes.
Like, because that was
Very
just
true.
awful when it was really bad. But this I thought was done very well, right? Giant, like look, here's a wolf, but giant, super giant wolf.
Right.
It was awesome. And that was my favorite scene thus far this season. It was the not shouting version of me shouting, like thrusting my arms in the air in celebration. I was more excited for that moment than since
Don't you
season
forget
one.
about me start playing and then
No.
credits
It was
came
both
up?
hands. It was
was
both hands victorious.
Okay,
Both
yeah.
hands up in the air. Yeah, super victory. And because that's been building since the episode, it was the one after the King's Road, right? So it was the next one. What is that? Like episode 4 of season 1? It's been forever. It's been a long time since she threw a rock and made Nymeria run away. And that was an emotional moment in the books.
John Lithgow just yelling, "We don't want you anymore. Don't you know we don't like you?" Just yelling at them. No. Okay.
Nope.
All right.
Did you just go Harry and the Hendersons?
You're damn right I would Harry and the Hendersons on
He
you.
went Harry and the Hendersons. I thought it was a very emotional scene, and there was very little dialogue, which, you can't have dialogue with a CGI wolf. So
Oh,
it was good.
Listen, if any show can figure it out, it's this one.
But they made her expressions very
Yes.
demonstrative, and I thought it was done very well. And again, Maisie Williams is she's always brilliant. So I very much, Arya still remains one of my favorites. But that scene, I couldn't let us end without talking about that some more.
All right, it is that time of the show where we go ahead and open up the floor to your crazy and ridiculous theories. Fire at will, gentlemen. Who's got the craziest one this week?
I already
said my theory.
Brian told you his theory. I told you mine. Craig had some batshit crazy thing over there.
I was kind of
Yeah,
hoping
mine are all going to shit.
Okay.
I'm waiting for what's his face to show up. The blacksmith, the bastard.
Gendry?
Yeah,
He gone.
nah,
So-
he's gonna show up.
So I got,
is he going to try to claim the throne again?
but he's a child of the usurper. There's no more. He's got no more claim.
I'm just curious what's gonna happen. They saw him getting on a plane going to Belfast, so he's gonna be in the season this year.
Okay.
For a moment, I was like, the plane? What the hell are you smoking?
Where did they get a plane?
The actor, they saw the actor board a plane to Belfast.
Yes, exactly. So
Gotcha.
he's gonna show up this season. I'm just curious into what effect.
So to retread the theories, Brian believes that the armies of the North head to King's Landing to take over what the Tyrell and Dornish armies were going to do. I believe Daenerys and dragons go north to fight the fight at the wall.
And I think Arya gets sidetracked and doesn't make it to Winterfell.
And I will take the opinion that Craig is always wrong.
Go
Because it's
fuck
worked
yourself.
out for me so far. Okay.
I always get close.
There's
you
a-
always think I'm right for about 30 seconds, and then I'm proven wrong.
Very true. Very true. There was a moment of panic, like, shit, Craig was right. All right.
It always works out like this because Craig was like, "Oh, I think this," and then literally the next episode he's proven wrong. It's not even like 6 episodes
Yeah,
later.
you know, it's
Still waiting
like
for the
literally
Greyjoy
the
to
next
go ahead and get a dragon egg, man, because they were just laying around all over the place. You can just pick one up. Go to the supermarket.
There's got to be more
take 2, please.
dragon eggs.
I guarantee you Whole Foods has at least one in stock.
All right. Well, listen, there's obviously so much left going on in this season and probably something that we missed during this episode. So we obviously want to hear from you. You can email us at got@thatkindofnerd.com. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search That Kind of Nerd. I am CJ Mellon, joined of course by Josh Burns, Craig Newcombe, and Brian Thornton. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. And we will see you guys next week.